So as we all know, when it comes to their movies, Marvel is playing the long game. And so thus the time has come for their publicity department to switch our focus of attention to Captain America 3: Civil War. And they've done that today with an official announcement that production has begun on the film. And with that announcement, there are some very interesting reveals about both the plot of the film, locations where they'll be shooting, and the cast. Now, of course, they made this announcement because the film has begun production, and I'm sure there will be set leaks. There are so many set leaks these days that the studios have to try and get out in front of them. You're seeing Warner Brothers and DC grapple with the same problem, especially with Suicide Squad. I guess Batman v Superman shot mostly on closed sets, but when you go and you shoot on location, people have cameras, they take photos, and they post those photos to the internets. So I think that's one of the reasons you see this announcement having so many reveals in it. But then also I think they want to give us stuff to be excited about, considering some of the negativity that's been, hovering over Avengers: Age of Ultron. It underperformed at the box office. It was not the record breaker that everyone had predicted. And also the reviews and a lot of audience members themselves haven't been too happy with the film. And then, of course, Joss Whedon is just spewing negative comments about Marvel left and right. So you can understand their interest in not only getting us excited about the next film, but changing the conversation. And changed it they have. Again, lots of great reveals for us today. So starting out, they're beginning to film in Atlanta, Georgia, at the Pinewood Studios there, but they also have announced that they'll be filming parts of Captain America 3: Civil War in Germany, I guess naturally because of Daniel Bruhl as Baron Zemo. Puerto Rico, which I think is a great choice. As we all know, the Latino demographic has become quite powerful at the box office, so it's wonderful to see that kind of diversity being brought into the MCU, at least in location. But there is a lot of diversity in this movie, as we will discuss. And then also Iceland. So a little bit of a globe-trotting adventure there for our Avengers. So then here we have the first synopsis for the film. And it says, Captain America Civil War, they dropped the 3. I guess that makes sense, it was just Captain America Winter Soldier. But Captain America Civil War picks up where Avengers Age of Ultron left off. As Steve Rogers leads the new team of Avengers, they're keeping the new team, in their continued efforts to safeguard humanity. After another international incident involving the Avengers results in collateral damage, political pressure mounts to install a system of accountability and a governing body to determine when to enlist the services of the team. The new status quo fractures the Avengers while they try to protect the world from a new and nefarious villain. Ooh, interesting! Interesting indeed. So what's going on there? Well, you have a couple of things. First of all, it's confirmed that the team that's introduced at the end of Age of Ultron will at least initially be the team that is going to be operating in Civil War. So that's very exciting. As many have pointed out, it's an incredibly diverse team. It's got 2 African-American characters on it. It's got 2 women on it. It's got a robot on it. And I think it also has favorites, Black Widow and Captain America. So very, very exciting. And then the other news is that they're going to have yet another international inciting incident. Now, we discussed what might happen with Civil War, and that the inciting incident might have happened in Age of Ultron. For instance, the Hulk fight in South Africa. There was talk of an arrest for Bruce Banner, so that could easily have been the inciting incident. Or, Ultron ripping an entire city out of the earth and destroying it, essentially, because the Avengers had to destroy it in order to save the entire planet. So apparently that wasn't enough to spur the governments of the world into action, and instead something else is going to happen. But I think that makes sense to some degree, because I think that the inciting incident in the Civil War comic is so iconic, to not utilize that is a big choice. So it looks like it's a choice they're not going to make. That will probably be, the Stamford, Connecticut inciting incident will probably be the one in the film. That's a big one, though. That's surprisingly violent for the MCU. The MCU has been a little bit tempered in terms of real-world violence, so to see them go in that direction would be very interesting. And then There's internal fighting between Cap and Iron Man, but then they're saying there is a new and nefarious villain for them to combat. That is not part of the original Civil War storyline. It's just infighting. So for there to be another villain, I think shows Marvel's or Kevin Feige's distaste for painting Tony or Cap as a villain. I think that that's a little bit of a chicken move. I think the whole point is to have strong ideologies for both characters and let the audience decide. So I think to introduce another villain who, as everyone's been saying, Marvel's track record with villains is not so great. I think is a little bit of a chickening out. So we'll see. Is that villain Daniel Bruhl's Baron Zemo, another Hydra element, or the like? Or will it be Martin Freeman's character? Now, there are rumors. I thought Martin Freeman might be Uncle Ben. There's a rumor that he might be someone who registers the superheroes, which I think could either make him like the new Coulson. So if Clark Gregg should be like, I can't believe I was replaced. I'm definitely never coming back. And then also, some people are saying he'll play Henry Gyrich, who in the comics is the government liaison, or not even really a liaison to the Avengers, because he essentially is the one who decides when they can and cannot be deployed, which I'm sure the Avengers will not take too kindly to. So I think Martin Freeman could either be the villain or a major person, probably with the governing body that they're trying to put in place. Or it could be another character that they're going to have in the film, which is confirmed. So let's get to the big surprises. We have the whole cast list confirmed. Now there could also be surprises that are not included here, but there are surprises already given away. All right, so now, in addition to Martin Freeman being confirmed, but not who he's playing, they've confirmed that Paul Rudd will be joining the MCU at large. He's gotten the call. He's coming up from his Ant-Man movie. I think that's very exciting, but you're going to be disappointed. We're going to have at the end the list of who's not included. So Paul Rudd, he's going to be in there. Chadwick Boseman, of course, will debut as Black Panther. That's very exciting. Daniel Bruhl, Baron Zemo, he's new to the MCU. And then also William Hurt as General Ross is confirmed. He, of course, was in the Incredible Hulk film with Edward Norton, and General Ross is a very important character to the Hulk mythos, although fascinatingly, as you're going to find out, Mark Ruffalo is not in this film, so the Hulk isn't in the film, but one of his chief villains is. But I think, as we've discussed with my Civil War coverage, that William Hurt's General Ross is a great person to be included here because of the military aspects to the Captain America brand, right? So it's a great place to bring him in and to separate him a little bit from the Hulk. Perhaps he'll be the one who ends up being the liaison with the Avengers. Because how many new characters are they going to introduce, right? All right, so who else is confirmed? Well, we've got Chris Evans. Robert Downey Jr. is also confirmed. Scarlett Johansson. I'm putting them in the order that they listed them in the press release. So that kind of indicates their importance both in the movie and to Marvel Studios politically, who's getting top billing. So Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. get the top billing. Scarlett Johansson comes next, obviously becoming a very powerful player in the MCU. Sebastian Stan, very interesting to see the Winter Soldier so highly ranked in who's going to be appearing in the film in the cast list. So that probably alludes to a pretty good sized role for Bucky. Anthony Mackie next, that's fantastic. Then Paul Bettany as Vision, of course. Good to see him up there. Jeremy Renner, we'll see what capacity he'll be returning in. They'll keep hiding out at that farm. Don Cheadle, a little disconcerting to see War Machine so far down the list in terms of the cast, but we'll see what kind of role he has. At least he's going to be a part of the team when the movie starts. And then Elizabeth Olsen, perhaps because she's like the newest to join, but still, I think a lot of people are going to want to see a lot of the Scarlet Witch in the film, so a little also concerning that she's so far down in the list. Then also they've announced Emily Van Camp will be returning as Sharon Carter, aka Agent 13, and Frank Grillo as Crossbones. And as we all know, both of those characters, as many of you pointed out, are very important to the Death of Captain America storyline. So to have them both in here, I think signals that will perhaps be the end of this movie. So who's not included? Aaron Taylor Johnson as Quicksilver, not included. But that could be a surprise potentially. We've discussed that Scarlet Witch could bring him back to life as she has in the past, and other people that are important to her. So don't count him out yet. He does have a multi-film deal, so why would he sign that unless they were just being cruel, or they want to do flashbacks, we'll see. But he's not included in the cast list for this film officially. Also, Chris Hemsworth is Thor, not included. Tom Hiddleston as Loki, also not included. So, you're not seeing the Thor Asgardian players come into play here. I guess they'll be very busy with Ragnarok. That better be one heck of a movie to be left out of this. Then also Mark Ruffalo again as the Hulk, not included. Samuel L. Jackson and Maria Hill, not included. Colby Smulders, who plays Maria Hill, not included. And then Andy Serkis as Claw, not included. He'll, of course, be showing up in the Black Panther movie, but not here. Also, interestingly, while Paul Rudd got the call, Michael Douglas's Hank Pym did not, so perhaps he won't be filling in for Reed Richards in the storyline. Maybe that will be Chadwick Boseman, as some of you pointed out. But I have a hard time believing that Chadwick Boseman would, be talked into doing such government work as, I think Michael Douglas seems like a little, but he also is a renegade in the, just in the trailer from Ant-Man, you can see him saying, I don't want to give this power to the hands of everybody. So maybe he is more of an activist, so they decided to go with Chadwick Boseman. But that would be a pretty big change for the character, not only in terms of his ideologies, but also he decides to sit things out in the actual comic in Civil War. So we'll see. But he could be taking over the Reed Richards role. And then, will we still have a tiny prison? We'll see. And then Evangeline Lilly, of course, also as Hope Van Dyne, it looks like will not be getting the call to fill her mother's shoes, or tiny shoes, as the Wasp. And also, no Netflix players have been announced. No Charlie Cox as Daredevil even, who would be the most likely, as the other characters have not yet been introduced. So that's our information, the new information we've received for Captain America, Civil War. What do you think? What do you think of who's been included? What do you think of who's not been included? And what do you think of that synopsis and the filming locations? Write your thoughts down below. And also, I guess the other thing I want to ask you finally is this doing a good job getting you away from the Age of Ultron funk? For those of you who didn't like Age of Ultron, has Marvel got you back in the fold already, or are you still a little wary of another purchase? A ticket purchase, that is. All right, thank you so much. I look forward to continuing the discussion with you down below, and you can check out some other episodes right now.